Happy Monday, happy March. Welcome to Learning LinkedIn. This is our fourth episode, Open to Work, our second Open to Work episode. 2 minutes can change your life. I'm Matt Wolf, CEO and founder of Ticket Time Machine. We have my co-host, Joe Haber.
Hey, guys.
Vasily is part of our panel. And today we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to bring on some candidates who are actually looking for work and highlight them and talk about what they're looking for, give them some job tips, and hear a little bit more about what their journey is like. And so please comment away, ask questions, highlight yourself. If you're not part of the show, we will be doing this again, but put in the comments what you would like to look for, any suggestions for job searches. If you're hiring, definitely let everyone know. But if you missed the last one, you could watch all of our episodes on lilearningsession.com. I want to welcome Joe and Jen and let them give some opening thoughts.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us again. As Matt said, today's is going to be a little different. It's not going to be us talking to you. It's going to be highlighting really great candidates who are open to work across several different fields. It's really a variety that we have today. And making sure that those people can tell their story, get 10 minutes to tell their story, who they are, what they're looking for. We're going to post this on LinkedIn and on YouTube and Facebook. So feel free to catch it on any one of those channels. If you are watching after the broadcast and after we've done this live, we will also be capturing in a spreadsheet everybody who has spoken today and a little bit about them. So you can go ahead and scroll right to somebody that you're interested in. But thank you guys again. So happy to have you here.
Hey guys, Jen here. Just a couple of things I want to point out that I think worked great in the last session. Definitely just getting out there and putting yourself out there. The whole purpose of this is to kind of reinvigorate and re-energize your search. So definitely don't hesitate to speak up, reach out. There's a lot of resources and opportunities that are free to you that you can just access by connecting with people here on LinkedIn. So I just want to reiterate that this is a great platform. There's tons of just great resources and opportunities, and we're here to help. So please definitely try to participate. Don't just sit there and listen, but just put something out there, even if it's just where you're located and what you're looking to do.
Great. And we're going to have tips throughout the show. We'll have some additional panelists answer any questions. We got some people I got to fly here. We got some people in the green room waiting, and we're excited to have them come on and talk about what they're looking for, so we can hopefully get everyone back to work. Jen and I were talking about, we've seen a lot of posts lately with people talking about the jobs. I'm going to share my screen real quick, and we're going to just go over these a few tips and on job seekers for the people who are searching. So, that did not work.
It's like looking into a vortex.
Did that work?
We're looking at Inception right now.
Yeah.
No, that didn't work.
You can just make the PowerPoint in view mode.
Yeah.
Well, while Matt's trying to figure that out, if you guys have any comments or questions for either us or whoever is our guest speaker at the time, please feel free to put them in the comment section. We can see all of them and we'll get to them.
How about that? There we go. That should work.
There we go.
All right, so just some real quick tips. We talked about this before, but stuff that everyone should be doing if they're looking for work. Add the open to work icon to your profile. It's right in LinkedIn. It's there. It's a green little, almost like a half crescent moon, and it says open to work. That easily identifies people who are looking. It's actually something that I used as I was trying to invite people to come on and to know who to invite and send the link to. There's also hiring. So if you're hiring and you're listening to this, or your company's hiring, please put that in there. I see a lot of people who use it who aren't, just to get attention. I think that's not right. So if you're not looking for work, take down the open to work. Include something in your headline that says you're looking for work. I've seen people put looking for my next opportunity, free agent, and that, again, did a lot of help for me in looking to try and find out who I should invite on and who we should highlight and who we should send this to. Follow the hashtags. The hashtags are huge. If you follow Open to Work, you'll see all of the stuff that we do. I always when I share a comment to get visibility for the jobs that Jen and other panelists are sharing, I put open to work or job alerts. And so find out what's relevant to you for your industry, or just open to work. You'll find more. And it's very key, and everyone will probably talk about this. It's key to get in very early on in a job search. And again, we were just talking about this. Once 200, 300 people have applied to it, it just becomes harder to get your name out there. Engage to get visibility and post. That's what this is all about. We're trying to get people visibility. So share, like, comment, all of that stuff. Tell everybody what you're looking for. Post stuff about things that you've done that would interest someone who's hiring. Ask for the job you want and ask for the help you need. Always ask. This is more important than ever, I would say. And then the things you can do to help job seekers, I would say, is, again, like, comment, and share. Even if you're not looking, no matter what, you could always just like, comment, and share, and it's going to go to your whole network, and then you'll see that people in your network can see. And so it starts to add up pretty quickly. And like and share. Connect with people who are open to work. Connect people who are sharing job postings. So I always say, hey, follow Jen, follow Lee, follow Chris, follow Linda. They're always sharing jobs. And so the more people that you connect with, that's going to increase your likelihood of finding that job. Tag people if you think they'd be good. It's the same thing if I'm asking for a graphic artist. I tag people who I think are good. Engage with those looking for work with positive messages and helpful tips. I think that might be, and we can hear from Jen and Jill, that might be one of the best things that happened last time we did this, is just the type of messages we got about how happy they were that there were people encouraging them and all the positivity that was out there. And help as much as you can. It might be you looking for a job at some point, whether it's you're looking for work or looking to change careers. So that is where we're at here. And we're going to get ready to bring on Jack Jones in a few minutes. Jen, any I know you said we've been seeing some extra jobs and some more jobs recently. Is there an industry that you should be following? Do you have any hashtag recommendations? Obviously, you're posting all of them, so just by connecting with you and following you, you'll get to see them, and you're good like everyone else clicking like. But give us a few extra pointers as you're looking for a job on LinkedIn.
Sure. I would say, and again, my background's more in the entertainment industry, specifically live music, concerts, and events. I have noticed in the last 3 weeks, just in my general searches, which I do every day, just to find some other opportunities, that I am seeing an uptick generally. Not as much yet this week, but that's because it's, job postings from Sunday and Monday morning, so we'll pick up again. But I am seeing an uptick for sure, especially across sports. Baseball is doing a ton of hiring right now, so MLB just posted a ton of positions. The other really cool thing is with MLB, if you go to their page, it pulls in and aggregates all the other teams too. So it's not just if you're going to work for MLB, it's for, the Yankees, the Mets, the Phillies, everybody else too. So that actually works that way. I would definitely suggest, if you are interested in the entertainment industry, that you follow some of the different sites and companies that actually do already aggregate those positions. Teamwork Online is a big one. That one usually is where a lot of the companies, they actually may not even post it to their own career site, but they will post it in Teamwork Online for the most part. There's a ton of internships posted there right now and a lot of positions. I would say the jobs I'm seeing pop up the most seem to be in premium sales, which is going to be more customer service, sales facing. So it's VIP sales, suite sales, upgrades, anything that's more experiential for the actual venue and for the team than it is about just going to sit and watch the game happen. I also see a big uptick in data and analytics. So any of you guys who are more mathematically minded here, that's a great opportunity for you if you want to be in sports, but still use your mind in that way. Also seeing that with ticketing, even in the music industry. Barclays Center was hiring for a director of data analytics, and you're seeing that with ticketing as well. So I would say data and analytics, the premium seating kind of stuff, those are the two biggest ones I'm seeing pop up right now, trending in the industry. So I would just make that known, that if you're interested in that, that's a great world to get into because there's a lot of openings.
Great. So we're going to bring Jack on in a second. I forget to do this every time. We want to give you a disclaimer here. We are not HR. So any advice that is given here is just out of the kindness of our hearts because we want to help people. It's good advice because there are people who are our opinion. It's good advice because these people have been sharing jobs and pretty well thought of in the industry. But again, we're not telling you to do this or do that as from a legal standpoint. Obviously, everything you do is, ask around. If it's something you should do, find out some more information before you do it. And there's our legal disclaimer. And now we're going to bring on Jack. We're going to bring on Jack to the show. Jack, how are you today? Thanks.
I'm doing good, Matt. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I want to figure out actually There, we're going to give you the floor here, Jack. So, but what we want to do today is tell everybody who you are, what you're looking for, maybe share some of your journey, what's been good, if something that's been bad that frustrates, this is it. Let's hear what it is, and I think it'll help other people who are searching, and any job tips that you think have been helpful for you or little things that you do. So the floor is yours, and let us know.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks again, everybody, for having me on. And I think this is an awesome thing for everybody who's involved here to learn and to get to, kind of show what they've got. My name is Jack Jones. I am from Staunton, Illinois, originally, about 40 minutes west of St. Louis, and I live in St. Louis, Missouri now. My most recent role was with Live Nation as a venue sales coordinator or premium seating coordinator here in the St. Louis market. Had a great time doing that, but as we're all very aware, COVID came crashing down, and a lot of jobs were cut, and especially in the live event industry, live music industry. Since then, I've been, still kind of looking for a way to get back into the ticket sales industry, the live events, whether it be in sports or music. I do have a master's degree in music business from the University of Miami and a bachelor's in communication from Illinois College in Jacksonville, Illinois. Really just trying to figure out what that next step is after, what I thought was going to be, a multiple step climb the ladder career with Live Nation, kind of restarting. But it's been a good journey in the last year, I think, to kind of stop and reflect and look back on what it is I really want to do and why I want to be a part of this industry. And what it comes down to is I love making moments for people. As Jen mentioned, the premium seating side is a little bit more experiential, a little bit more customer service focused. And I found that that's really what I enjoyed more than anything was the customer service and client service side of it, rather than just making a sale, rather than just being a transactional salesperson, to really create a relationship and experience for each and every person I work with, because these people are spending their hard-earned dollars to be a part of whatever I am selling. So I want to make sure that they have the highest level and most VIP experience. And I found that that's what I really enjoyed about working in ticket sales, working in live events, is creating those VIP, those experiential moments for people at every event I can, every moment I can. The other thing that I've found going through this, some things that I've learned, just being engaging and learning more than anything, not necessarily expecting an outcome, not necessarily expecting an opportunity out of whatever I do. Things like this, for example, or just having conversations with a hiring manager or someone at a company that I aspire to be a part of or aspire to be in that position, just learning from them, not necessarily expecting an opportunity or something on the end of it, but just having that experience to get to learn from them. In terms of frustrations, being, basically unemployed for the last almost a year, it comes with a lot of frustrations. I would say the biggest one for me, though, is just not hearing back from hiring managers, from people I've interviewed with, getting to the end of an interview or multiple rounds of interviews, and then just never hearing a word from the company again. Not even so much as we chosen another candidate, just complete ghosting. It seems, you don't want to compare it to dating, but it kind of feels like dating, where you start talking to somebody and then 2 weeks later you never hear from them again.
Yeah, we get that a lot, and that's, I reply to every message I get. I think you can expect people to not reply to you, but once you have that connection and you've had some communication, whether it's an interview or a couple rounds, it's just, I think it would do companies better to be able to do that. So I think we're going to hear that a lot from the people who join, and we've heard it a lot already. You mentioned something about, the type of job you want in the companies. You're here, do you have any targets? Are there any companies that you have at the top of your mind that you'd love to work for, or types of companies? Is it a venue? Is it a promoter, a marketing company? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to keep it pretty open. Keep my options open, not get too specific. But I'd love to get back into live music when that does come back. But I'm very open to being in sports as well. It's one of those two things is where I'd like to be, in ticket sales, premium seating specifically. Because like I said, I really love making those experiences. And if it would not necessarily be premium, but maybe a member specialist, client engagement specialist, something along those lines where I can provide those experiences day in and day out and resolve issues and make it's supposed to be fun. At the end of the day, these are fun businesses, and for the people buying it, the clients and the customers, it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a hassle when you have to get on the phone and talk to your customer service or talk to your ticket salesman. You shouldn't be having to hassle with them, and that's what I want to get people to is you shouldn't have to call your ticket rep 3 times to resolve an issue. You should have to call them once.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Customer service is all about. Sales is really just customer service who makes that connection. If you don't have the customer service down, then the sales are going to lack. You mentioned that you've been doing a lot more engagement, and I put a link in the comments that Jill had highlighted you on her LinkedIn, which she's been doing and will do again. Well, I know she's got some surgery coming up.
I'll probably start it before that, though.
After the surgery. What has there been some type of engagement? Has it been connecting with people? Has it been engaging with their content? Has it been off of LinkedIn? Give us something that you would recommend other people do if they're not already doing.
Yeah, one is just shamelessly reaching out. Sending messages to people who you think might not answer. What's the worst that can happen? They don't answer or they say no. I've reached out to people that I did not have previous connections with, really, besides seeing them on LinkedIn making posts. I've sent messages to VPs or directors of sales for teams, HR directors for big companies. Like, for example, I reached out to the HR director from WWE, from World Wrestling Entertainment. He said no. I said, you got to the position? He said no. I said, all right, thanks for your time. But there's been, for every 4 of those, there's one who says yes. So that's really the fun part, is when they do say yes, and then you get to pick their brain. And the other thing is for people, reach out, you rack your brain for people who because you know a lot more people than you think you do. For example, guys I played football with in college, I was listening to Andrew Haynes' podcast, and he had a guy from the Indiana Pacers on there, and I was listening to it. I was like, there's no way this is the same guy that I know. But it was a guy I played football with in college, who's now does ticket sales for the Indiana Pacers and was on Andrew Haynes' podcast. So then, because I heard his podcast, I reached out and we had a 20-minute talk a couple weeks ago. Again, didn't lead to a job or an opportunity, but it was a talk that helped me get to another realization, another breaking point.
Yeah, and Andrew will be on here. He's a great resource, whether it's his Free Agent Fridays or all the jobs he's posting, especially in the sports world. He's got a great sports background. And that's a point that I made in the first or second one, is look through your phone. I didn't realize that there was probably 4 or 5 people in my phone who I was not connected with on LinkedIn.
Yep.
It can't hurt. And you never know, some people don't even really know what their contacts do or where they work for. And maybe you hadn't talked to them in 3 months and they're at a new place, especially in the environment there is today. So I think that's good. I would say, some of the the helpful hints that I would do is you don't even have to always go for the highest level of the person at the W demand. Go to someone who's interning to find out what it's about. To start,
Definitely.
or in the somewhere in the department or a lower level. Those people are generally happy to talk about it. They're generally happy to talk about it for a lot of reasons, but some of it because they feel like, hey, somebody wants to hear about what I'm doing, which is good. So that's a tip I would give. Let's Jen and Jill maybe give some tips.
I was going to say one of the things I like to do is find the person who has the job title that you're looking for, right? Because somehow they got there. And whether you're not necessarily trying to get their job, you're trying to get a similar job. So, look for people who have that job title you're looking for, and reach out to them because to Matt's point, when you go the higher level, sometimes they just don't want to either deal with it or they don't have the time. But when you get down to the level of like where you want to be, people like to talk about themselves. So I would say that. And then my other question for you, Jack, was going to be just let's assume every state is different, obviously now, but let's assume music sports aren't coming back in 2021, right? What would be another industry target that you would look at that you could take, because you have great experience, you can take that experience, make it transferable to other things. So I don't need you to answer the question now, but something to think about, right? Because you can still create those smiles and those experiences in maybe outside of the sports and entertainment, because we don't know, when that's going to come back in some areas and maybe sooner in some states than others. But where are those sort of transferable skills where you can go, okay, I still can create experiences and make smiles and be that customer service, person that you want to be, but not necessarily in what I had in mind. So something that would still make you happy. That would be my 2 cents.
Jen?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Jill were saying, that, definitely reach across to your same peers too. You should definitely be connected to a lot of people, like people you went to high school with, like you were saying, if you played sports in college, definitely connect with those guys, you and your coaches, any athletic trainers, anything. They usually know people, people in sports know people in sports. And that's something I found too, where, I played field hockey and I coach field hockey now. All those same people are still all connected in that world, but some of them now work for major sports teams and other ways. So definitely don't feel like that's not a good thing to do. Just reach out and connect with the people you know first, and you'd be shocked who they know a lot of the time. The other thing I would say to you is it's great you're in premium sales. You guys are a very special breed of human to want to deal with customer service at that level, where people feel extra entitled at that level too, right? So they're not just expecting that going to the game experience, they're expecting this higher level experience. So really you're selling luxury is what you're selling. So keep that in mind as you are pitching yourself, that you are above and beyond somebody that does high level customer service, just to start with. But definitely, make sure that you're following the different companies in your area. Are you looking to relocate at all? Or are you looking to stay in the locality you are now?
No, I'm open to relocating anywhere. I've said anywhere I can speak English, basically, because I don't know any other languages. That's where I'd be open to moving to. I love experiencing new cultures. I moved from Southern Illinois to Miami, Florida. So I am open to any and all kinds of worlds and cultures. And I love St. Louis, and I would not have any issues with staying here either. But whatever's open out there, I'm very open to being, relocating to anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's a great question, because with COVID, a lot of jobs are remote, so you can really expand. Like, don't not apply to somewhere because you think that they are only going to hire you if you move there. If you're a good enough candidate, I would think they'd let you start remote, especially depending on what it is. Obviously, if you have to be at an event, that's a different story. What was your favorite event that you worked at?
Oh man, that's a tough question. There were so many great ones that I worked at. Before I started doing sales, I was a guest ambassador with Live Nation, in a direct customer sales role, face to face with ticket holders every day. I would probably say one of my favorite ones was, and I don't love this band, but Pentatonics, because there were so many kids and families there, and it was a lot of kids' first concerts, and we got the chance to take some of those kids, who was their first show, up to the stage with us. They walked with us as guest ambassadors, and we had to like put them up front row in front of the front row, and that's the kind of experiences and moments that when I say I like to make those smile moments, that's the kind of moment that like makes the job and whatever you had to do, whatever fires you had to put out, whatever craziness happened throughout the day, those little moments make it all worth it.
I saw Pentatonics when they first got on the sing off, and they were incredible. What they've made of themselves is incredible. You know, you think about all these TV type of competitions that there's not a lot that have been bigger. Maybe Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood. I don't know. It's a short list. Adam Lambert, was he on one of those?
Yeah, American Idol.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a short list of people who have done better for themselves than that. So yeah, I mean, we had a cancellation here, guys. If you're watching and you want to come on and highlight yourself, let us know. We'll bring you in. We have a couple openings for people who were not able to make it. If you want to just highlight yourself in the comments, do that. We'll bring it up here just like this, and we'll be able to highlight you, your name, what you're looking for, what you've done. What was your first job, Jack?
My first job out of college, I was a radio host. I did AM and FM radio, and then I was the assistant news director for a radio station in Jacksonville, Illinois. Town of about 25,000 people, mostly just a college town. But I really enjoyed the time I spent there. I figured out news journalism wasn't really my path. I enjoyed being an FM host, but the news side wasn't really where I was at, and I was basically working 4 jobs for one radio station, and working from I got there at 6 in the morning, I'd get home at 11 at night a lot of nights, and it just wasn't really what I was wanting to do, and so I figured out I love music and live music especially, and I was just Googling programs where I could learn more about this. How could I find out more about this? And I've always been a big Miami Hurricanes fan. And just I know you're a Gators guy, Matt.
I married a Hurricane.
Yeah. But it came through my email one day. I hadn't even been looking at the University of Miami. I'd been looking at like NYU and USC for their music schools. And it came to my email one day, University of Miami Frost School of Music Master's Program in Music Business. And I was like, this is some kind of sign from somebody that I need to do this. And so I ended up going there and I got my master's in music business and moved back to St. Louis shortly after graduation. And the first job I got offered was that guest ambassador seasonal part-time role with Live Nation at the same venue I went to my first concert at as a kid.
What was your
they thought I did a good enough job. They wanted me to bring me on in a corporate role, and neither of us knew what that would look like, but that premium seat sales position came open right there at the end of the season. And again, it's just been kind of a cavalcade of falling into place of things. And that's kind of where I'm sitting at now with where I'm at in my journey is, it's not necessarily where I thought I'd be or where I wanted to be, but it's where I'm supposed to be. And the next place I land is where I'm supposed to be too.
I think you're going to get where you need to go. I think you're doing a great job so far. We're glad that you came to join us. I think everyone would say if you're not doing 2 or 3 jobs for the price of one when you first start out, you're not doing it right. So
right, absolutely.
Gotta take your lumps. We're gonna bring on Robin in a second. Who's your favorite artist? Your favorite musician? Your favorite?
My favorite singer is Kenny Chesney. I'm either Kid Cudi or Kenny Chesney. I know those are two diametrically different people, but those are 2 people I really love.
Love Chesney. And who haven't you seen? Who's on your bucket list?
Oh, Eric Church is probably my number one on my
He's
bucket
so
list.
alive. You gotta catch him next time he goes on tour.
Tortuga. All right, Jack, we're gonna let you go because we're gonna.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Have a good one, y'all.
We can help. Robin, welcome.
Hello. You hear me?
Yes.
Can.
So Jack did a great job of exactly what we're wanting him to do. So
I think
tell
it's
us
a
who.
career change after listening to Jack. I think I
Yeah.
might want to do it.
Hey, Joe, we got people who can help. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
So tell everybody who you are, what you're looking for, and a little bit about your journey, some tips, frustrations, whatever you want to talk about today. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see everyone. Thank you for inviting me on. I didn't even know this kind of platform existed until I was in this situation. I'm Robin Walston. I'm from Stratham, New Hampshire. It's southern part of New Hampshire. I've lived here my whole life, born and raised, never moved. And I think part of the reason is because and when you're in sales, you can kind of live anywhere and do anything from where you live. I recently became unemployed due to a change in direction of my company. I do feel fortunate though, because I am in an industry that was actually booming. I work in the natural products industry, and as we know, retail sales are huge right now. So it has nothing to do with our products and not selling. As you know, the grocery industry is doing amazing. There's just them taking it into a different direction, being more aggressive about the future and bringing in some people that they thought could get them to that level. So anyway, I think that what happened for me is I think I was more devastated than anything and just shocked, because I kept thinking all this year, I'm so glad I have a job. And ironically, my husband was let go at the same week as myself. So both of us were sort of in this position, and then we're sending our daughter off to college in September. So I didn't waste any time. I had never really used LinkedIn. My profile was completely, not even completed. It was about 70% completed. My resume was probably 20 years old. I haven't had to really look for a job this way in a long time, so I feel fortunate about that. But I just jumped on LinkedIn and I just started reaching out to all of my contacts and just letting everybody know that, hey, this happened. If you hear of anything, please let me know. And I have to say, it was probably what got me through what had happened, because I just felt so kind of lost, and you feel isolated, like you're the only person that this has happened to. And you kind of, what you find out is that you're not the only person that this has happened to, and you're not the only one going through this. So initially, I just kind of needed comfort from my friends. And I think a lot of times what people said to me was, they said, calm down a little bit, because you've got to go through this process. And I kept thinking, what process? What are they talking about? And they're right. There's really is a grieving process that you go through when you lose your job. And I didn't know that. And I did sort of have to step back a little bit and take the emotion out of it. But most of my jobs that I've had, or job leads that I've gotten, have come from LinkedIn. I think I have had one through a recruiter. I didn't really reach out to recruiters. A couple that I've known in the past reached out to me. I've had this happened about a month ago, and then I had 2 weeks. And so really I've been out of work for 2 weeks, and I've probably had 8 interviews. And I've got some second ones coming up this week. I think I've got 3 coming up this week. So I'm hitting the ground running. It doesn't mean that anything's going to come out of it. And I know you were mentioning something earlier, Matt, about reaching out to people you hadn't reached out to in a long time. One of my contacts was someone that used to live here in New Hampshire and moved out to California probably 18 years ago. And I just connected with him on LinkedIn, and we had kept in touch over the years. He's sort of in the same industry, but he does R&D. And he actually connected me with a really well-known company that I'm having a second interview with this week. So that to me was just amazing. I didn't think that would be where my leads would come from. So I have to say that I've been, I don't know, I feel fortunate that I've had as much action as I've had. Again, it doesn't mean anything's going to come of it, but I think Jack even mentioned something where a lot of these opportunities are ones that maybe I'm really not that excited about, but I'm going through the process because it is something where you're getting, I haven't had interview experience in years. A lot of the companies I've gone to work for, because I know our industry is small, and I've been able to find jobs through just networking, people I know. So what I've liked is that this is giving me sort of that experience of getting in front of hiring managers again, salespeople, and just sort of talking about myself, which is not something we all like to do. Kind of tired of it, actually, but it's something good that we all need to do.
Yeah, it's great. So we're going to welcome Lee to the show. Lee has joined us in the past, and he's back. Robin, do you have companies that you target? Are you wanting to say any of them here? I mean, we want you to do.
Yeah, I can't say any of them right now. Yeah, I did have one, and the company, the vice president of sales was amazing. I loved this person, but I didn't love the product. So I have to be passionate about the things I sell. I've always said I can't sell toilet paper. I have to have something that I can get behind, be excited about. Natural products is an industry I've always been in. I do believe, I live a healthy lifestyle, so I want the products that I represent to be something that I can just stand behind and feel really good about talking about. So if it's something mainstream or something that I'm not really passionate about, I just can't. It's not in it for me to represent a brand like that.
Yeah. So Lee, you're actually, so your company is hiring and you've been putting these jobs out. Maybe give Robin a few pointers or some advice.
Yeah. Well, first off, Robin, very nice to meet you. And best of luck to you on that next interview. Very exciting. Fingers crossed for you. This kind of reminds me, and this is what's so fascinating about LinkedIn. So when I graduated from college, 13 years ago, I was on the job hunt, and it was the worst time to look for a job. It was like 2009, and it was when we were in a recession. And, I had done internships and everything else, but even for positions, it was incredibly hard. So when I'm talking to people in this, climate right now, I totally feel the pain because that's what I had gone through. And I've been in that same position for the last 12, 13 years with the same company. So for me, what I tell everyone is LinkedIn is a godsend because you can now connect to everyone and you'll find people who are at companies who, you may not have been able to connect with in the past, but people are much more amenable to speaking now. And that's what I did when I started looking is I started finding people at companies I was interested in every position that I was interested in and just asking for informationals and having conversations, 30 minutes of your time just to hear what you can do. And some of them are now still mentors to me to this day.
Even 10 minutes. You always find that 10 minutes turns into 20 or 30.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And what I also recommend doing is that if you are looking at specific companies in sales, the great thing about sales is if you're great at sales, you could sell anything. If you're really good, you could sell ice to an Eskimo or prosciutto to a rabbi. So it's just a matter of finding out what are the companies that you're interested in selling because passion is key.
Yeah.
What I always tell people when they're looking for jobs at our company or wherever I'm posting is try to find someone who you can connect to there or find a connection to that company. So if it's, at RNC PMK, are you interested in the tech side or so whatever, look at our clients and then be like, oh, I'm very familiar with this brand and talk about it and be, as we used on a previous conversation with this group, authentic, be genuine because people will see that. And when you have great sales and great experience, it's not just your background you're selling, it's you as an individual. So always find a way to really sell yourself. I mean, you're very valuable, but the thing is there's a lot of people out there who are just as valuable as you are. What makes you stand out? So always find a way to connect, be authentic, find that way that you can really get that person who you're reaching out to give you the time and then just win them over.
Right.
And that to me is the best advice I can give anyone.
Thank you for that.
Robin, hopefully you'll get this next interview and you'll kill it. But do you have any tips for people that something that's worked for you? Anything that's really been frustrating? I know we hate to be negative, but look, sometimes people need to say the bad things they have, so other people. We had Jack talk about not getting replies. I think people will go out there and say, look, I'm going to look down on this company that didn't give me a reply, or could be. So give us some tips that you would like to share of stuff that happened for you.
So one thing that Lee just mentioned and what I did was what I would do is when I would see a job post on LinkedIn and they're going to get hundreds of applicants, I would go on the company's LinkedIn page and I would see who I knew that was connected with someone at that company. So I would find connections, and then what I would say to those people is, hey, I'm really interested in this job. Looks like so-and-so, the VP or this person in marketing. Would you mind reaching out? I actually had a buyer at Wegmans reach out on my behalf to a company I'm interviewing with tomorrow because he just said, oh my gosh, I loved working with you. Of course, I'll reach out and let them know. And I got a call within 24 hours after submitting my resume. Right. And that was when you could see over 200 applicants. So that's something that's worked for me is just, again, using those connections and not being afraid to reach out to people who you kind of realize in this time who you do have a lot of friends. You do have a lot of people and to use those friendships and to use those connections.
And anything else you want to say about yourself or what you're looking for? Again, highlight, we put our LinkedIn in the comments. Tell everyone who you are and what you're looking for. And we wish you great luck. And then we're going to bring on Peyton.
Thank you. No, I'm just I want to continue in my sales role, something in the East Coast. I've always handled the East Coast, part of the Midwest. So just a director of sales in the East for an amazing brand. I mean, everyone's got amazing products out there, but just something in the natural food industry would be great. I'm kind of excited, when one door shuts, another one opens, and that's what everybody keeps telling me. Sometimes onto bigger and better. That's how my attitude.
Great attitude.
Well, thanks for joining us. We wish you luck. Let us know how we can help. Let us know if this job comes through, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon. We're gonna say goodbye and bring on Peyton now. So
thanks, Robin.
Peyton, how are you?
Hey guys.
I saw you switched on us here, but I know we want to give you as much time as you can to highlight yourself. So tell us who you are and what you're looking for. And I know you joined us the last time and highlighted, but now let's get a chance to, kind of hear more about you.
Cool. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? I've never done this. It's all new for me. But yeah, I listened to the last one and it was awesome. Same thing you just said, I was kind of like, okay, I guess I'll listen to this. And it was amazing. And I connected with Jen after, and we had an awesome conversation. We're best friends now, in case you didn't know Jen. And it's so cool to get all the support from everyone and be seeing all the jobs posting. And you just feel like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, and you start feeling more upbeat and positive about it. But a little about me. I am similar to Jack, so I should definitely connect with Jack after this. I'm not in sales. I am an experiential event producer. So typically I've worked at marketing agencies, and I was client facing. I could go back to being client facing like an account director, but I actually prefer to solve all the problems and be the magician who figures out the crazy things that the clients want to happen. So for the past I was in New York for 8 years. The last 5 years I've been based in LA. I'm now living at my parents' home in Virginia in my high school bedroom. So that's super fun for me. But yeah, so I lost my job when COVID hit because live events, as everyone knows, are not really a thing right now. But the last job that I had was the last 3 years at an experiential agency in LA. And my main clients were AT&T, and Adult Swim and Best Buy. So I was doing large activations for them. And I'm talking Comic-Con activations, South by Southwest, tours, in-store activations. I did a TED Talk, premiere parties for AT&T, office tours. And then the most recent thing I did was I was the the main producer of the Adult Swim Festival. So that was pretty career highlight for me.
For those, Peyton, I'm going to interrupt you 1 second. For those who don't know what the Adult Swim Festival is, go to Peyton's LinkedIn and look at her profile. She has a link to it. It is awesome. As an experiential person myself, it's one of the coolest things that I've seen from an experiential standpoint.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you saying that, because a lot of my friends don't even understand what it is. And I'm like, it's a music festival. It has 3 stages, but it's comedy. It's 11 partnerships doing activations. The Adult Swim creative team is like, hey, we want to create a 50-foot slide. And I'm like, great, let me figure out how to make that happen. So it's hundreds of brand ambassadors brought on. It's a year-long production. So when people now talk to me and they're like, oh, events, is that coming back soon? I'm like, well, the ones I produce take 6 years to a year in production before they're actually happening. So I'm very hopeful that there's this uptick that we're seeing. Things are going to actually start happening soon, because the production starts now to happen, in 6 months to a year from now. So when COVID hit, I was actually producing a nationally touring pop-up tap room for Lagunitas Brewery. And they were looking to expand on the East Coast. It was 10 cities in each, 10 days in each city we were going to. And COVID hit and shut the whole thing down. So, it's frustrating, but I'm like super hopeful that it's going to come back. I always joke that, I mean, I won't give you my exact age, but I am over 40. And I always joke that it took me to turning 40 to like really figure out what I was doing. And then COVID hit and it was like, oh, what is happening?
Well,
But
I started my company in my 40s and then COVID hit. I got married in my 40s and COVID hit, so it happens. Well, I wanted to ask you one question here. Do you go back to Lagunitas and find out if they're planning on doing this? I mean, because I think it's always good to, you know, if you had stuff in the fire.
I did apply for a job directly with them, an amazing cover letter. Like, you know, their entire team that I worked with got let go from Lagunitas as well. The team at Lagunitas that hired us, my agency. So, but they actually, you know, I have been getting, and I'll get to this because I have a list of tips for people, but I keep a running Google Doc of all the jobs I apply to. And I've heard back from a lot of them, like a standard letter. But the Lagunitas letter was like super kind and nice and like from an actual human. And I wrote back and just said, thank you for the amazing letter. Like, this is so wonderful to hear from a human. So I think they're like a super special company. But yeah, it's so many marketing initiatives. The budgets are just like cut and like moved on to the next year. So I feel like they all are like moving big amounts of money around or something. But
yeah, so we got some people who are in your shoes. I know it's always good. Robert made the joke about he's in his high school room.
My mom's always, I catch my mom on the phone being like, well, she's not living her dream. I'm like, living my dream? Like, what are we even talking about? Everything I own is in a storage unit in LA for a year now. I'm like, it's now turned into a time capsule. I don't even know what's in there. I'm like, no winter clothes in Virginia. Like, what is happening?
Are you looking to come back to Los Angeles?
I think that's probably the move. I've been applying for jobs in DC, government jobs, like some nonprofits. Jen has been helpful in that area. And also I've turned to the sports industry too, like Jen was talking about. Sponsorship activations are still a thing within sports. So if I could go venue side or brand side, I would do that too.
I was going to say brand.
Yeah, I definitely don't need to be with an agency. But yeah, so that's basically it. I'm totally open to relocation. But yeah, and I think a lot of companies are realizing experiential is a thing. So they're looking to bring on like directors, which I get contacted luckily by a lot of recruiters. And it's funny because the recruiters don't exactly like, I know the job better than they do. So I'm kind of like, okay, this is what you need to say to sell me. You know, this is what. So, but I'm so thankful that they reach out to me and that I'm even being considered a lot of times. Like, I'm very consumer facing, so I'm B2C focused, and a lot of times it'll be more B2B, and I can do that too. But to kind of go back to what Jack was saying, and I love that he used the word customer service, because my prior experience was more in like audience development. I worked for Complex Magazine, Complex Networks, in audience development. So I did all the analytics tools. I set up content syndication partnerships with like Spotify, Business Insider, you know, Huffington Post. So I had like the online side of it, and I missed the human interaction too much. So then I went back to like physical production and events. But yeah, I mean, it's all about like guest experience, fan activations, like fan engagement. So that's like what I specialize in. So when I take on a role, when I get an event, I'm involved from the full life cycle. So when the fan learns about the event to when after they've left, what is the final experience? So the full life cycle of the event is like what I'm touching. Like, is the app easy to use? Were the signs correct? Like everything. And especially at the Adult Swim Festival, like after everything had gone on, you know, I'm still running around the whole time fixing problems, and everyone who wants to talk, like you were saying, this like high end, you know, like entitled person who wants to, like, you know, have every problem fixed for them. I'm like, hi, you know, and they're like, no, I need to talk to like the guy in charge. I'm like, hi, I'm the guy, you know. So it's like, I'm the person who's going to fix your problem. What can I do for you?
Well,
you know, so that's, as a fan, was my passion and why I kind of went in that direction too. But yeah, so
one of the things I keep seeing and hearing is why you should hire people in the event industry. And Peyton, I'm sure you've seen this as well. It's like any problem can get solved by somebody who has planned events, especially to the extent that Peyton has, everything. Any company should be very open to hiring from the events industry, just because it's a project manager, right? Essentially what we've all done, what Peyton does is project manage start to finish, right? And so a live events industry that I think was ranked as the most stressful job you could have, I think, at one point in time. So just to kind of talk up Peyton for a second, if you can do what Peyton did, you can, a company would be lucky to have somebody who like her in their organization.
Yeah, you just
something I would throw in really quick there is just that something that I always use an example when I'm talking to people that want to get in the event industry. We have finite deadlines. Things have to happen. We make miracles happen every day. So if Ariana Grande is playing at the Forum in LA, she's playing at the Forum in LA, whether you've scheduled your staff and have tickets ready to go, whether you have internet that day, it's happening. So it's not like if you work for some other brand where they're going to push the product announce or release date back, it's happening. So these are people that really can do things in a very finite timeline too. So definitely very good example there with the project manager, Jill.
Yeah, once again, Peyton, we have our LinkedIn. She's got some great experience. I think just your conversation here really illustrates, what you're talking about with regards to, the event industry and the experiential stuff. So we're gonna let you go here.
I did have a couple of tips if you wanted me to
we
them
definitely
out
want to
real
hear
fast.
your tip.
And I have a ton, so I'll just try to highlight some of the ones y'all haven't said.
You could if you throw them in the comments after, we'll highlight them also. Give us a couple right now also.
Well, like Etsy has awesome templates, resume templates and cover letter templates that match, super cheap. Glassdoor, awesome place to look for salary information and to see if people liked working at a company. Because if people are don't like it, maybe you don't want to work there either. Let's see. Yeah, just have some references on deck, share jobs like Jen has been doing and everyone on the panel. And also I have a ton of recruiters, companies that post jobs in certain cities. So anyone can hit me up. I'll proofread anyone's resume. I've done a lot of copywriting. And connect with me. I'm happy to help too. I feel like it's all about paying it forward. So anyone who's watching this, hit me up. Maybe I can hire you one day once I'm hired back.
Yeah, you never know.
Great stuff. Peyton, I grew up in DC and I know we are connected on LinkedIn. Obviously I live in LA now. So if you see anything that I'm connected to someone, just ping me, let me know.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right. Thanks, Peyton. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Peyton.
We are going to bring on Aaron. Aaron is a friend of mine from the Intix industry, but we're going to give you the floor here. So tell everyone. Actually, we'll give Jen. We're going to give you your 10 minutes. I promise. We got some stuff. So I want Jen to give a last. She made a comment here. Jen, they didn't see the comment, so tell them about Glassdoor and give us some final thoughts, and then we're going to bring in Chris and say goodbye.
Yeah, just real quick. One thing I will say is it's funny. People always tag me to share job postings. If their Glassdoor rating is under 3.5 in any way, shape, or form, I refuse to share it. So don't be offended if I don't share something if you tag me in it, but that's why, just as an FYI. So it's got to be 3.5 or higher. And I also look at the product reviews and the company reviews from the customer side as well. So anything that's lower, not getting shared on my page because I want to make sure everybody has a good experience in what they're sharing.
Great. We appreciate
That's a very good point. I never thought of that. Really good point.
Well, now Lee's going to have some homework to do. He's got to.
Everybody's checking their own ones now.
Jen, we always appreciate hearing from you. Anything we can do to help you, you let us know. You've been a great to everyone so far. We'll be keep doing these as long as you keep posting jobs. We're going to keep sharing them. So thanks a lot, and we look forward to the next time.
No problem. I need to share.
Oh, I think that cut her off. I think that cut you off.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to post a bunch of people to follow post today of other people that are doing what we're doing. So just keep an eye out for that.
Oh, perfect. Great. And I'll share that as well.
Thanks, guys.
Right, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jen.
So we're going to bring Chris on too. And Chris, we'll let you listen for a little bit, but let's hear from Aaron and what she's doing. She's been waiting patiently, and we already have someone from the Aaron fan club list, who's another Intix member, of course. Intix, great organization. So Aaron, welcome. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you're looking for, and what your journey's been.
Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate you doing this. It's very encouraging to the people here. And Jaden was amazing. If you're still here, Jaden, I'm very impressed with you. And it's true. I've been in the event business for 20 years now, and most of my focus has been ticketing and managing teams that provide the utmost in service to presenters, nonprofit boards, fundraisers, and patrons. I put learning and creativity and quality and growth above most things when I'm rating what's most important to me. The past 7 years, I was with the Tobin Center for the Performing Arts in San Antonio. It was the first performing arts center in San Antonio, which is the 7th or 6th, depending on how you rate it, largest city in the US. And when they started thinking about opening, they brought in all these gurus on their subject matter. Each one of us, whether you were in the food and beverage or you were in the programming or each of the areas, fundraising, you were the subject matter guru. And what we found was we were all butting heads. And what I loved was bringing everyone together and saying, we need to get together regularly. We need to collaborate. We need to form a team so that we can understand each other's areas. And if that gives you a concept of how I work, I like to bring people together. Key stakeholders, I brought them together and brought them exponential growth, quality systems for fundraising, ticketing, customer service, financial management, CRM databases, all of it, marketing. Before that, I was with Texas A&M University. I was running their arts and entertainment box office. And I seem to thrive on high-end customer service, on leadership in that area, training people, making processes. I'm an organized person. I'm a collaborator. And I'm a networker. As you saw, Liz said I was wonderful, and I so appreciate that, Liz. I try to everyday network. I think some of the things I'm doing slightly different than others in my job search. When I lost my job due to COVID, I realized it was going to be a while before my industry opened up again. So I realized I needed to keep focusing on staying with the times and practicing my skills. So in my typical week, I will spend time on 2 to 3 different networking Zooms internationally, trying to keep in touch with what everyone else is doing that are still in positions, what the future focus is. I formed a local group and a Texas group of people in my industry where we meet on Zooms once a month so that we can talk about where they're at, whether they're in jobs, whether their company's still working, whether it's pushing forward. I started volunteering for the American Red Cross, and I'm helping their development department here in San Antonio and training their volunteers on how to reach out to create partnerships with the Red Cross, with corporations, and ask for donations and contacting their list. So I'm keeping that regular.
And you are very involved with INTIX as well, right? So this is a committee that is not a job, it's not paid.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of, what I'm doing mostly is not paid. I have been paid to do some article writing and some speaking, but and some web page design for people. But I'm with INTIX. I'm on the board for INTIX. I'm the liaison for the mentor committee, and that really keeps me going. And it also keeps my name out there. Might seem self-serving, but I do need a job eventually. So keeping my name out there and keeping it focused. I'm beyond that. I'm connecting with people, reaching out to them, keeping my LinkedIn up to date, keeping my Facebook. I started doing this thing I call Beautiful Horizon Posts. Beginning of each week, I post something that's here's how you keep energized, here's how you keep focused, and keep on the positive side, because we're all hitting the negative side a lot. I'm in Texas, so we all went through in Texas that cold snap just over a week ago, and it's hard to stay positive when things keep hitting you. And so focusing on that positive is real important.
Yeah, I think, Aaron, I started asking you, who are you talking to? And you mentioned the company, and I said, oh, I was just talking to them. Let me send a note. It happened to be late in the process, so not a whole lot we can do. But the importance of just talking about what you're looking for. So, if there is a company that you're in, you don't have to say it here. Obviously, everyone wants to be open about what they're doing. But if there's a company, we talk about if there's an industry, if there's a specific thing, connect with them privately, but also talk about it. Tell them, we have people post 10 companies I'd love to work for, and someone might see it and know someone that you're talking to and want to help you with that.
That's an interesting concept, actually posting 10 companies I'd like to work for. That might be interesting.
Yeah. And tagging people, there was also some good advice here about just engaging with the people, just to make yourself more noticeable. Any other tips that you have for people looking? Anything else you want to share about what you're looking for? Obviously, very well versed in the ticketing world and the entertainment and event space. Is there something else that you're targeting, or is that where you're hoping to stay in?
I would love to stay in the events industry. Even with my first job out of college, I was working for a radio station, just like your first guy. And I was so interested in the promotional aspect of it and the events and bringing people together. My mama always said, she was an RN, she said that people under anesthesia show their true self. And, I had my wisdom teeth out the whole time. I was inviting people to my house for dinner. I was asking them how they were. I was trying to entertain them. I was, it was all about collaboration and bringing people together. And so I think that being in that area, even if maybe stepping to the side and joining a software company and helping them with their products that they're bringing. Another thing that's always been important is the quality of the service or product that I'm bringing, and the ability to work with others and grow them and for them to grow me. I think those are all extremely important for me.
That's one of the reasons why you were one of the first people I thought of when we were doing this. It's just all this stuff that you do, to help other people. And it's the same thing that is you're looking on the panel with Lee, Andrew, Chris, and Jen and Jill. The help that they're doing, which there's nothing that, every job that they post, it's not for them. It's not even for their company. Jen is looking, for work sense herself. So we really appreciate that. Connect with everyone you can here in the comments. There's people who want to help. Ask for what you want. We're going to bring Donnie on in a minute here, but appreciate it.
I just wanted to say that, Aaron, I love how much you've done while you're not working. And I think that's really important. And it shows in your LinkedIn profile as well, because, it's very easy, you said, to get down on yourself, and keeping yourself busy and expanding, just because we're not working doesn't mean we can't be doing things that are valuable to you and to other people. So Mazel Tov, congratulations. I think that's a really very impressive what you've done.
Yeah. Any last tips or anything else you want to say about yourself?
About myself, I could, we all have tons that we've done, but I'd say for everyone, sometimes you have those spiraling moments, and not just doing to do, but do for others. It's going to really help you out. And when you hit those spiraling moments and you have what I call rats or raw and awful thoughts, analyze those. Don't believe them. If they have a source of reality, then work on that portion of yourself. If they don't, kick them out. Because we're all a work in progress. And even though you are a diamond to be, you still have to go through that process of refinement. And everything about you needs to be tested and tried and worked on. But stay up to date. Keep up with people. Be kind to each other. Treat yourself well. We're all people. We're just
we're all people looking for work or, looking to help. And that's the way it should be. Really appreciate you coming on. We're here to help you any way we can. We're going to bring Donnie on here, and I want to give Lee some parting shots here. So some last minute thoughts and some tips, but we'll see you soon, Aaron.
Thanks,
Lee,
Aaron.
Lee, give us some and we welcome Chris, who will give him a chance to speak also. Lee, some last minute thoughts or tips
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everything that's being said here is just wonderful. And I love that we're doing this, that we're all helping. And, I think that however we can be a resource, it's so important right now. My LinkedIn is always open. I love to share thoughts and ideas. I love being a part of what you're doing, Matt and Jill, and Andrew. I think this is all wonderful. So again, please do keep me posted if there's anything else I can do. And hey, Donnie, just wanted to say hi before I bounce off, but good to see you.
What's going on, Lee? How are you?
Not too much. I'm going to head out of here shortly, but you'll be with this great group. And thanks again for having me today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee.
So thanks, Lee. And we're going to bring on some more people for the panel from last time soon. But let's welcome Donnie to the show. Donnie, I've seen all of your stuff on LinkedIn, but tell everybody who you are and what you're looking for, and talk about your post today, because I thought it was a great post that you did, and it's something that we talk about, everyone needs to do, and that's why we're doing the show, and that's why you're here. So start with that.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody. Past 7 years, I've been with NBC Universal, with NBC Sports Group at Golf Channel. There was a reorganization within the company, so I separated with them last year at the end of August, and sort of been in transition ever since, looking for my next big adventure in full time. But currently I've been freelancing. And, I always kind of look at LinkedIn for inspiration, and I'm a, big fan of Lorena Acosta's tribe, with just, showcasing your personal brand. And I think even if you aren't always up to snuff on, you feel like you have a lapse in your career, or just want to provide some extra sort of continuity to your story, a personal brand. I think what's really great to showcase here is that there's ways of portraying that and sharing that with your network that's really powerful. So today, for example, I've kind of wanted to update my LinkedIn and update my resume as I get that to recruiters. Sort of after 6 months have kind of been in this new phase. So what I did was, I've only seen really one sort of example I modeled this after, used Canva. And what I was able to do is I took my updated resume and then per slide made it like a little slide deck. And then what I did was I took the new basically update and added that into sort of like my personal brand deck, which is what I send out to all my employers or anyone that I'm looking to work with. So it's kind of like a sort of overview and highlights of who I am, what I'm about, what I'm capable of, so on and so forth. I'm going to recommend that. And what I did today, I've done this 6 months ago when I separated from my company, and it worked really well. I mean, it was 25,000 reach. I got a lot of great tips and probably I would say up to like 10 really meaningful connections and messages and next steps from that. But, I recommend everyone out there too. There's things where, you can still continue to promote what you're doing in your brand and your experience, even if you don't feel like you're, currently taking root in that. So I want to encourage everyone to do that as well. And feel free to, if I could be of any service, if I could, make any intros to anyone in my network, give any professional advice. If you look at my post today with the slide deck, I kind of have what I call like my ask and my offer, and I would love to connect with anyone out there, and, together we're going to get through this.
Yeah, that's great. So, the thing that I like about what you did and for what you're looking for, and we have a lot of people probably listening in that way, is that you can actually share your work. Like Jack and Peyton and Aaron did a great job of explaining what they do and explaining the knowledge that they have, but you can just have people click a button and they can see what you're all about. And so you need to highlight that. And that's exactly what you're doing. You've done it well. You've highlighted some of the other jobs you've done on a freelance basis. So, that's what I think is great advice. And you're a proof of it, is to highlight what you do when you can do it. If you're a graphic artist, if you're a video, but even if there's an event you worked on, you could show it. Say,
exactly. And even if
Matt, I would say, go ahead, Donnie.
Even if it's just I was just going to say and put in there, even if it's one gig, because there's one, for example, one thing on my resume that we just worked on. Yeah, it was a one-day job. I was making a music video for these aspiring Three Sister rock trio. That video surpassed over 100,000 views this past Sunday, And it's one of those little things where it's like, if we're looking to kind of put measurement and context to who we are, what we're doing, what experience we bring to the table, and the performance metrics in it, you don't have to wait to your next job to start including some of that, or from your past. It could be right where you are.
I was going to add to that, which is people who can't necessarily show exactly what they've done, right? But they still can, because it says it on their resume. So there's no reason they can't take sort of Donnie's example, which I think is fantastic, put it into another type of program like a Canva and make a portfolio, even if it's a ticket sales information. I think everyone's done something from a sales perspective. If it's Robin who works in natural food and she increased her sales X amount over year, no reason you couldn't actually make that into a nice looking format until it's similar to what Donnie did.
And you got the opportunity, Donnie. I mean, I think you've done this, but just create something that's not a job. It's just you can show off your skills by creating anything, whether it's
think about it. It's honestly giving more of that personal context to what you do. It's showing what you do best. If you're passionate, let that come through. And honestly, it's one of those things when I'm talking to recruiters, when I'm in the interviews, when I'm talking to any other folks in my network, even if it's a follow-up blind call with me, it's like, hey, I know we just connected. Do you have an email? I could send some more information. I kind of pump them full of all that information. And likewise, it's something to where, it makes you feel home, but it might give us something to bond over, But I mean, to Jill's point as well, no matter what you're doing, Salesforce, anything, you could think about stuff, non-tactile. It's like visuals. Take a screen grab of your reports. If there's any dashboards that show what you do well from a technical standpoint, include them, and if anything, it's looking back and giving yourself more value than what you thought, just went over your head, because to the outside world, we don't know you, but you know what? You have amazing skills that matter and will stand out and add value.
And one thing that we should talk about too is I think I'm actually going to take Donnie's idea. I have a portfolio. I'm going to make it look a little nicer on Canva, but people love things they can look at quickly and then move on. So, if you have to read through something to get to the point, for them, I think sometimes, especially in recruiters, want to look at something, see what you've done, keep going, right? Resumes don't tend to get read all the way through. So something like this in any industry, I think, is really important and valuable.
Okay. Well, Donnie, you're looking for full-time work now. You're doing freelancing. Do you have an industry in mind, companies in mind, type of job? Obviously, you're in video production, but a little bit more specific. I know you're open, but share a little bit about what you're looking for so people can know.
Absolutely. Right now I'm talking to some large companies in sports media right now, kind of vetting through opportunities and going through the interview process. But for me, it's what the great thing that what we do, it's maybe video and it can kind of go one or two ways. But when you look at it from the larger source of digital marketing, social media, long form streaming media, there's context to it all. And, the great part about what I do for a job and as a passion of mine is, there's deliverables for all of that, like we go up and above that scope. So it's one of those things where, there's even roles that I saw with Chewy that I, put my neck on for that. It's one of those things where it's, if you asked me out of college or, 5-7 years ago, would I want to work for a pet company? I would say, I wouldn't see how we'd be a good fit. But now we're in this age where, all these brands, have content, they have a voice, they have a digital marketing plan, and they need those brand stories and films and promos and social, context to really help elevate their brand. So, for me, I've had the wide gamut of, corporate video into sports media. I've worked with a lot of great brands, Avis, Rolex, Loch Lomond, Topgolf, Jeep. A lot of different brands, and influencers as well. I've worked with a lot of great music artists. That's sort of like my passion. I'm more of a music fan than a sports fan. But, I think with me, it's the right fit to where, what I'm looking for is the right company where I have an ocean of content to make with you. But also like the variety to where we're not being stagnant, but sky's the limit. And right now I'm talking to two companies that, they're their own media studio, rights holder, and sanctioning body of what they do for sports. And for me, it's something where when you have all of those that formula and criteria under one roof, it makes for something very, very powerful.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to bring Paul on in a second here. Any last second thoughts? Any tips? Any stories about your journey that you want to share? Obviously, I think your post today was excellent.
Donnie, are you looking to stay in Orlando, or are you open to relocation?
Right now, I'm open. I mean, honestly, it would have to be a great fit and make complete sense, considering all things considered for a West Coast move. But I mean, I'm applying all over. I mean, I've really put my hat in the ring for a lot of different things, and even remote, and even using Orlando as a base and traveling a lot. I'm used to traveling over 40 shoots a year, so I mean, it's I think it makes sense to if it makes sense, I'm all ears. But I think for me, this past 6 and 7 months has been really filled with gratitude, and looking back over the long run that I've had. Very grateful for the opportunities that I've had. I've been able to hold 2 gold medals, work with Olympians, to music artists, to pro athletes. Collaborate with the MLS and NBA teams. I wouldn't even think in a million years I could do that as where I was in the sector that I was. But I'll tell you, if you have a passion and will to get something done, sky's the limit for you. You just need to position it right, and the rest is history.
Just need a shot. Have you connected with our Orlando resident, Andrew G. Haynes?
Oh, yes. I think we're first connection, so yes.
All right, great. Donnie, appreciate you coming on here. We're going to let you hop. We're going to bring Paul in, and we actually have some openings here that people couldn't make it. So if you're interested in coming on the show, we saw some people commenting what they're looking for. We're going to welcome Paul here. Paul, thanks for being patient. We're going to give you, if you hold on a second, I want to give Andrew and Chris a minute to give some thoughts about what they're hearing and some tips and some ideas, and then we're gonna get to your story. So let's go to Andrew first. He's been waiting patiently. Tell us, what are you hearing? What are you thinking?
You know what? It was a few people back. I thought it's just great, and everyone really needs to remember, like, just because you're out of work right now doesn't mean you should sit around and do nothing. And just updating, just like he did. He updated his resume, his LinkedIn, showing that he's doing consulting. No matter what it is, even if it's a passion project, even if it's volunteering, I think all those things. When I'm looking to hire people, I like to know that they're involved in the community. What are they passionate about? So I think it's a good opportunity for all of us to engage in those things while we're still trying to educate ourselves and network. It all kind of comes together, and it shows some drive, and I think it was great to hear that. So
all right, yeah, we're highlighting Jed Davis. Jed is hopefully going to come on to our next show, but check out his new website. And Jed, if you're listening, we got some time today if you want to hop on today. So let us know. Anyone else put in the comments? Chris, any first thoughts from you? Welcome to the show.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Well, fantastic. So, just to build on what Andrew said, and my industry is so different than what so many of the industries that you guys have talked about so far, and was part of the last show with agency and broadcasting and entertainment. I'm involved with retail and CPG, sales, category management. It is extremely different from a skill set and from just an industry overall. But regardless, exactly what Andrew was saying, however you're hit and whatever spot you're in right now, you can be using LinkedIn Learning or some type of other opportunity to build those skill sets to stand apart. And I think Jill said a few minutes ago, I'm in a hiring process right now. So I'm getting resumes nonstop. And I have very limited time to spend on each resume. So those resumes really need to somehow be concise and stand apart, and then collaborate well with their LinkedIn profile to tell the story that builds that portfolio that we were just talking about, that drives interest for me to say, yeah, let's have a conversation.
Great. All good advice, and we'll hear some more from the panel, but let's welcome Paul Bland to the show. Paul, tell us a little bit about who you are, and and what you're looking for, the floor is yours. Thanks for
Thanks for having me, Matt. And Jill, Andrew, and Chris, thanks for facilitating this. This is a really neat opportunity. I met Matt through a deep networking event, Twine, and he then invited me to this show afterwards. So a little bit about myself. I am in Cleveland, Ohio, so self-admitted Cleveland diehard sports fan. For better or for worse, I love my teams. I'm an Army veteran, so I served 4 years in the United States Army right out of high school. And so I bounced around all over the U.S., spent some time in Arizona, North Carolina, Boston, Orlando. So I have a lot of love for all of those cities. Got my undergraduate degree, sports management at Ohio State. And then I popped down to Orlando. I'm a UCF Knight, so got my grad degree there. And I've been in collegiate athletics for the past 7 or so years on the fundraising side. And, I got into all that because my previous goal, I wanted to be an athletic director, be in the higher echelons of collegiate sports. I got into sports, part of my why I would suggest is that, while I was deployed, while I was in the Army, sports really was a way to unify us. We were all out and about, we were halfway around the world, but we could all come back to, what sports teams we loved and rag on each other with the rivalries and all of that. So that's what got me into sports in the first place. And then once I knew sort of that I wanted to specialize in collegiate athletics, be the athletic director, fundraising and sales became that primary channel in which to build your skill set. And so that's how I started my fundraising route. I never would have thought that I would have been in those types of roles, coming out of the military, just starting my education. But I ended up loving it. It's really cool to be on that really personal, person-to-person consultative sales approach, working with those folks and connecting their passions to what the university is looking for. Spent some time at Miami, Ohio. We were right in the middle of a fundraising campaign, raised $82.5 million in a little over 6 years. So phenomenal opportunity. I really enjoyed getting on the ground, hit the ground running, doing that. COVID, it's been the theme of today, right? I had taken a promotion. I moved over to a different team in order to help another team grow. So the spot that I vacated, they hired on somebody and they kind of created a new role for my position. So it wasn't necessarily due to outsourcing or anything like that. It was more, budget constraints with COVID. And then, that position was just a new position that they couldn't continue holding on to. So fortunately lost my position there, but I love being client focused. I think I have a lot of strong skills, consultative sales, revenue generation, strategic planning, project management, financial management, accounts, everything, partnership building. I just love the relationship side of things. I love connecting the dots for folks. I love hearing about people's stories, genuine listener, always willing to learn something new about somebody. So I've been on the job search, I would say since about Labor Day. I'm looking at roles more within nonprofit management, customer success, account management, business development, partnerships, anything that really wants to utilize those relationship skills, dynamic environment, stuff like that. I'm not limited to the collegiate industry. In fact, I kind of want to branch out. That I don't necessarily want to do fundraising 100% of the time. I want to build on my skill sets. So if that's working with an agency or a brand, sports entity, you name it, I'm open.
Yeah, we talked about that, and that's a good point for people who are looking. Your skills are very transferable.
Yeah,
like extremely. Like you're not successful because you have this great sports knowledge, although it does help you. Don't get me wrong. Knowledge in the industry is always going to be helpful, but the skills that you're doing. So that's a great, point and good to hear. I know we've talked about, some other opportunities for you. Have you targeted companies or you're just kind of open? What does your job search look like so far?
Yeah, so I've been really fortunate. I've deliberately taken my time in looking at opportunities, and so when I find an opportunity or somebody that is at a target company, I'll sit down and I'll network with them. I'll really focus on the opportunity, make sure it's right for me. And so I haven't been applying in and out hundreds of applications. It's been 5 or 6 positions I've really looked at and been in the process of hiring. No specific company, but I am open to relocation. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the Cleveland area. Remote is awesome, of course, but if that job requires the move, that was going to be one of my tips and tricks. Learned several times over at this point is that relocation tends to help you out in terms of.
Oh, always, yeah. We got a candidate here who's going to who can relocate, who can work in many different industries, fundraising, right? Revenue generating or raising funds. That's always something people are looking for. What's been the biggest challenge for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I'll name 2 if that's okay. My first one is when I'm looking at these job roles, obviously a lot of my past experience, most recent experience has been fundraising. And so making sure that those skills look transferable, right? And you communicate those on your resume and your cover letter. Learning to do that has been a bit of a challenge because you're looking at these mid-level roles and you don't have a direct experience as your last position. I was a fundraiser. So if I'm looking at customer success or a project manager, I have to really communicate those transferable skills. And I think it's been a challenge a little bit when applying. I think folks tend to not, directly see these skills that I have. I think they more look at, okay, he's been in this direct position. It's not directly what I'm looking for. So I guess I just have to sell myself a little bit better. And then the second one is it really took some time to define what I wanted to do. And I'm glad I've had some time. It took some hours to think about my purpose and, did I want to stay in fundraising? Did I want to be in collegiate athletics? And it boiled down to, I love helping people. I connect the dots, and I'm just driven by the energy that other people give me. So that's I started there, and then I moved on. But that definitely was a challenge. It took some time to do that.
Yeah, it's great points. I think they get caught up sometimes on a resume, looking
Sure.
perfect, that you should highlight yourself. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful resume. It just has to be able to highlight what you're good at and who you are.
Right.
Everyone is just really taking a chance on you. Your
Definitely.
resume doesn't say you're going to be successful. It's something that you could have great resume and just not translate. So I want to give a minute. We're going to bring someone else on. We're going to get back to you, but I want to give the panel a minute to talk about what they think about that, because I think it's a good point. And we welcome Linda to the show also. So Linda, welcome. Thanks for joining us again. And we'll start with you.
You're on mute.
You're mute, Linda.
Yeah, just more of like tips.
I was on the last time and I had such a great response. I thought it was worthwhile to come back. So back almost now, a whole year ago, when people were really being impacted, I felt a need to try to find a way to create one page that was a sort of a central depository for people looking for answers, everything from how do I write a resume to how do I, apply for unemployment. So I launched a page called Friends Helping Friends Find Work. It's on Facebook. And it's grown, even in the last couple months, it's grown quite a bit. And I think people who somehow think that people are not still actively looking is so wrong. People are still being impacted by layoffs from last year. And if they've, perhaps stumbled upon a temporary job, they're still looking to get back into something full-time or something in their field. And, everyone's, trying to pivot or trying to find a new niche or explore some new talent. So in that time, I encourage all that. I've been helping people with resumes. And in fact, just from our last call, I had a couple people ask me to look at their resume, which I'm happy to do. Not that I'm professing to be an expert, but I'm a journalist by nature. At least I can catch some typos. So happy to do that for people. And I've paid for resume services, so I just give that information to the next person who's willing to ask. I think it's important to not be proud and ask for help, and I applaud those people who do.
Yeah, we did a disclaimer at the beginning that we are not professionals. We're all professionals, but this is not, we're not HR, we're not so take our advice and do your research also. But I find it's good advice. I have these people on because I see what they're doing and the help that they're giving. So, but that's great advice. Linda's Facebook group is great. If you join it, one of you guys can put that in the chat. But I've joined it and I've seen some really high profile jobs. Andrew, any comments on what Paul said?
Yeah, I was just going to add to, the transferable skills. Really, I think the cover letter is a great opportunity to kind of outline how those things cross over. I know, like, if I'm looking at a position outside of sports, I've primarily just been in sports. So I want to be able to, convey that message to, how that kind of sales can translate into that kind of sales or revenue generation or whatever. So, I think, when it comes to that's a great opportunity. Some people say to redo your resume, and, for me, mine's pretty specific, but the cover letter is where I make sure to customize and make sure that it highlights those strengths that, transfer well.
Yeah, I think, Matt, from my perspective, my recommendation for Paul and anybody in this specific situation would probably be to have 2 to 3 separate resumes depending upon which industry you're targeting. And you do have transferable skills. It sounds like from the tickets from the revenue growth and the building of the revenue for the fundraising. But what I would encourage everybody to do that is interested in some type of business development role is to not miss the opportunity to include in every single bullet point that you can one of 3 things. And the first is a dollar sign to show how you've driven revenue or growth, a percentage, or a number. So anytime you're in sales or in business development, if you have the chance in every single bullet point to include one of those 3 different unique ideas, it can set you apart more so than just giving a bullet point that describes a role that you have. That's a recommendation.
Great. So, Paul, you and I met randomly networking.
Yeah.
What other stuff have you done to be active and that has been helpful in your search that you can give tips? And keep in mind, to be successful in a job search and tips, it doesn't necessarily mean this is what I did to get that job. There's a lot of stuff you can do that maybe got you the interview, and it's tough out there. There's one person they're hiring, right. And if someone else is better than you, that doesn't mean that what you did to get that wasn't successful. So tell us what you've been doing. Obviously, I mentioned a random networking. You've been doing some other things. Mm-hmm. Give us some tips that you think could be helpful.
Absolutely. And to your point, real quick, like it's easy to get. If you've been in that interview process, I've been a final candidate in one. It's really easy to start envisioning yourself in that role. And sometimes it's even more disappointing when you find out you're not that person. You've already seen yourself in that role. You've started thinking of new ideas. So that's kind of tough there. But some tips, I would suggest using LinkedIn events, just like this one. Use those to see who's attending. You can look up what degree connection they are. These are all like-minded people. They're all attending the same event. Start getting involved in the chats there. You never know who has a question that you might even be able to contribute, before the event even starts.
And throw your LinkedIn profile in there. I don't join a webinar. I can't tell you how many webinars I've joined where they shut the chat off and I just leave.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can search events so easily. There's so many free events, and some of them have hundreds or thousands of attendees, and you could even start narrowing it down even more. Okay, these are second degree connections that are attending this event that are in my local area. And so then you can get even more granular and start connecting with these folks, and you never know who they know, right? It's just, and I guess to extend that thought out is develop your local network, because, this event's great. I'm meeting people from Los Angeles, Florida, New York, right? But I need to also meet people in Cleveland. So looking at target companies or people that that were also veterans that are in the Cleveland area. That's what I've been doing, is really trying to build my local network. So that would be another one of my tips.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a good job. I think you're finding what you're looking for. We're all happy to help, but that's a good point. The like-minded people, and if you haven't connected with all of our panelists, or at least followed them to find their jobs, that's why we have them here, because they were on the last show and they're back today because they're sharing jobs, like a lot of jobs every day. They're good jobs. They're good companies. And let's just say this company's hiring for XYZ. That should be a company that maybe you look into and follow, because next week they might be, looking for what you're looking for. Or reach out to them. Hey, I know I don't see anything listed here, but I'm looking for this. Maybe you can, I just want to get my foot in the door, introduce myself. So if it does, you might be top of mind for them. Anything else you want to say about yourself? Some tips, journey before we're going to bring on David. He was listening in the comments and wanted to join. So that's the beauty of our show.
I think that, it's easy to get eaten up by the process. Just focus on having a clean process. If you're tailoring your resume, if you're reaching out and networking, it's going to work out. You have to stay positive. Just keep building those relationships with folks. I feel a lot of pressure internally because, I never, like I said, I am taking my time, but I did not ever envision being unemployed for 6 months plus. And so that starts to make me worry because, now there's a gap on my resume. It's hard to try and not put every single little thing you did on your resume. So that's a little bit of a challenge too. You really want to be able to tell your story, and you only have this concise little space to do so. So like Andrew said, use that cover letter to tell your story. There's a lot out there. People want to help. And that's the most encouraging thing, is just meeting people that just genuinely want to help. So I'm encouraged by all this.
Yeah, it's very, very refreshing, and it's good. The thing that I want to say is, don't worry about the gap. Okay, put COVID is why I'm looking for work, and talk about the stuff that you've been doing while you're doing it. And you're not going to be unemployed forever. That's the way I thought about it when I was unemployed. And I can tell you, back in the day, I was unemployed. It was a long time. And I always knew I'd find a job. Did I know it would be a good job? I didn't know that. But I knew I'd find the job. Everyone who we're highlighting here, everyone who's looking right now, they will find their next job. And, just got to stay positive and keep doing whatever you can do to maybe get a leg up, because everyone else is doing that. So really appreciate you coming on. Look forward to continuing the conversation, and glad to have you in my network, and anything we can do, definitely let us know. We're going to bring David on in a minute, but some great questions and points by Paul. So we're going to give the panel an opportunity to talk about what they just heard. And thanks a lot, Paul. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Let's hear.
One of the things Paul brought up is local networking. So I know I've done this with all my posts, which I hashtag the city, the location, the area that somebody lives in. Little harder to do in cities like New York and Los Angeles, but when you live in Cleveland or Orlando and places like that, search the hashtag Orlando, hashtag Cleveland. And that will help connect you with people or jobs that are in your local network. So doing that on LinkedIn is a big thing.
Yeah, Andrew?
I mean, I like to think I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, but he brought up something that I have never done, and I'm doing it right now as we're on this, is really look at the events on there. I've never really gone through, and so I thought that was a great idea to just kind of, find different things that maybe you're not connected with somebody, because there's some really great events scheduled. So I thought that was great. I'm going to definitely,
Yeah, you see the people looking, they have such great advice, and you don't think about what you have to do until you're having to do it. And now, we haven't looked for work in forever. So there's a lot of stuff in the job search that you can actually use in your professional life, not just looking for jobs. Linda?
Yeah, I think we're all kind of touching on the networking side. I know it's sometimes you're tired or whatever, but you're not just, if you can link, you can network anywhere. You can network at the grocery store, you can network, and sometimes it's exhausting. Sometimes you just want to run in and do something, whatever. But my husband, constantly says, "Oh my God, did you just spend 15 minutes talking to a stranger in the line?" But I've met people that I can help, and people that, not necessarily job help, but you just never know when someone's going to be the hiring person at a company, or know someone who knows someone. And so I'm that person that will strike up a conversation, because I just think you never know when you're going to meet someone who may not be able to do something for you, but just may be able to, another interesting person to know. So, I think a lot of times we spend so much time focusing on what's online, but, also focus like what's around you and what's in front of you. Tell your neighbors you're looking for a job, be vocal in what you're doing, so that, I've said this before, looking for a job, especially now, isn't a dirty little secret. We're all doing it. Let people help you if they want to help you, and let people know what you're doing.
Yeah, and remember, people put like on a billboard or a shirt that they're looking for work or looking for a girlfriend or boyfriend. I mean, look, it doesn't matter how you get it. I'm not ashamed to say I met my wife on a dating app. People were so
did I. So did I.
So, you got to let people know what you're looking for and take the help you can get, because it really doesn't matter if you find the job with someone you met at the grocery store, or someone you met on LinkedIn, or if it was at a sporting event or a concert by accident, camera. It's a great point by Paul. Chris, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that in today's time, not maximizing your opportunities, whatever those opportunities are, to engage and to increase your reach, is a big mistake. There's capable candidates that are looking for the same roles that you are. So increasing your network, reaching out to the people that can help you, improving your skill set during your downtime, are areas that can set you apart. And I think if you're not taking advantage of the local network, of the LinkedIn job finder, of recruiters, of every single opportunity that's out there, you're missing the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to welcome David to the show. David,
how's it going?
Great. David was listening and commenting. He commented what he was looking for, but this was his comment, and we saw it, and we said, hey, we have some open spots here. If you want to come and join the show, let us know. He said he'd love to join the show. Here he is. So tell us who you are, and give us a better idea of what you're looking for, what your job search journey has been like, and some tips.
All right. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. So I don't live. Hometown's not too far away from Charlotte, but right now I'm doing a mix of shipped shopping. So I'm at the grocery store a lot, and also working for a new minor league baseball in town. That's kind of a jack of all trades. Sales, customer service, admin work, anything they need, I'll do. Kind of part-time work right now, and I'll back it up. 2 years ago, I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, working for a agency called the Beckett Agency, and their niche was food and bev. So they handled all the PR and marketing needs for any of the local restaurants in Charleston, the downtown area especially. I joined them as an account coordinator, so I was doing account management, digital marketing, promotions, going to events, capturing content. So really just a full-fledged account services for 8 different clients. But the fall of 2018, they moved me to only social media content. And I love food, but posting about pizza and bar food every day on Instagram and Facebook, it got a little tired, I was getting a little burned out. So in 2019, I kind of had a self-reflection time, and I realized how much I miss live events. Before Charleston, I lived up here in Charlotte previously in 2012 and 2013 and worked for the local AAA minor league baseball team and the Hornets, and also interned for the Panthers back when I was in grad school. So I was used to grassroots marketing, promotions, a heavy event, the event life. And in 2019, I kind of was looking back on that and I realized how much I missed that. Like I said, social media content about food didn't excite me every day. So I had some conversations with people that I trusted, that I still knew up here in Charlotte. I never burned a bridge when I left. So I likely had good connections up here still. And I told them, said, I miss grassroots marketing. I miss going out to the community. I miss the sponsorship activations that I was able to see while being part of the teams. And everyone said, you gotta leave the beach. Get out Charleston, get back to a bigger city. And Charlotte was the cheapest move, and I still knew people up here. So I moved back here last February. 3 weeks before the NBA shut down. And I remember that night because I had a couple of conversations in town with some of the agencies and the radio stations about doing some remote work for them. And as soon as that Utah Jazz game got shut down, I knew all those conversations I had were that they were going to stop. So that's kind of where I've been at. And like I said, doing the shopping and baseball work for the past 12 months. Trying to figure out when I can find experiential marketing or sponsorship services job, when those will start kind of picking back up again.
So sponsorship, you're not looking for sales, you're just looking for like a liaison type.
Yeah, strategy, consulting. I know some agencies that's their specialty is kind of consulting and giving valuation. So yeah, the strategy side or the day-to-day management and activation of sponsorships.
Are you looking in Charlotte or in South Carolina, or doesn't matter?
I mean, I know I've only been up here for a year, so I'd like to not have to move again so quickly.
Yep.
So I'd like to stay in Charlotte for a little bit, but I'm also kind of looking at Atlanta and Nashville because they're nearby cities, and I figured maybe they'd be able to have me in remotely because I know it's a lot of experiential. You travel, so I like because I live in Charlotte but work for a company in Atlanta or Nashville, kind of nearby.
Yeah, Peyton wrote that there's some South Carolina-based jobs that she saw on Teamwork Online. So That's what this is all about, just connecting with the people that are on the show, the panelists, the candidates, and everyone listening, because everyone's looking to help. Very few people are in competition here. You might be looking for a similar job, but it's good to help people. So that's what the people here are interested in doing. What's been some of your journey, and tell everybody your journey if you have any tips, and then we're going to finish it out with Natalie. She's waiting patiently in the green room, as I guess they call the waiting room. Yeah,
the biggest thing that I've done the past 12 months is I have a Google spreadsheet of every job I've applied to, and I don't apply to every single job I see. I've really gone through specific agencies, specific brands, specific properties in the Southeast. And I've listed them all. And I've been looking on LinkedIn to figure out who works for these companies and in what roles and who I can reach out to. The National Sports Forum, been to their virtual summit last week or 2 weeks ago. Going to local Charlotte-based networking events. Really just focusing on that spreadsheet and trying to build up connections at every target company. That's kind of been my MO for the past 12 months. And, it's slow and steady, but I've been able to connect and rebuild some, see new people in town, meet new people across the region. So it really has all been about just focusing on that spreadsheet.
I think Peyton was the one who said she keeps a spreadsheet. A few people probably have, but I think she was the first one. So, I think that's great. And it's good to be organized because, you have to remember, like, you might have applied. I kept all my job applications, like, let's say 2 years from now, I'm looking for a job, and you go back to the people who you knew were hiring, the types of jobs and companies that you didn't even know existed necessarily. So I think it's great. We're glad that you could hop on here. We're going to let Natalie come on in, and then we're going to wrap it up. But connect with as many people here as you can. They're all posting jobs. Peyton gave you some good leads here, I think, and hope to hear you that you have something soon.
Awesome. Appreciate the time. Appreciate this event. Another great, awesome event. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steven.
David, the one thing I'll add, is NASCAR teams, because NASCAR is running. NASCAR is in, most of those teams are based in Charlotte. Yeah. I know that I was interviewing with a team that was hiring for a little more of a senior position. But for sure, check out the NASCAR teams because the season just started. They've probably got maybe something available.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Natalie, welcome. We got someone here who said happy to hop on. We'll have to do it next time. We're going to do another one probably in a couple weeks. I don't know who that is because it just says LinkedIn user. So reach out to anyone here, me, Jill, Andrew, and we'll get you on for the next time. But for now, we welcome Natalie to the show.
Full disclosure, Natalie is about 2 apartments behind this window behind me.
Hey, neighbor.
Hey,
Thanks
neighbor.
for inviting me.
So
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
We can hear you. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here. Tell everybody who you are, what you're looking for, and a little bit about your journey in searching, any tips that you have. And I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm located in Hermosa Beach in LA, so very close to Jill, as she mentioned. So my background is in fashion tech and tourism. I actually got my degree in tourism management. So obviously during COVID, it hasn't really been easy looking for work in that industry. But before that, I did work for a fashion tech company for nearly 5 years in Berlin, Germany. I was living abroad for 11 years. I speak Spanish, German, and Portuguese. So I'm multilingual, and I love working with international companies doing, I did a lot of event management in the past. But what I'm basically looking for now is, I did sales and marketing, but my main struggle has been everyone is trying to recruit me for sales job where I really want to go in the marketing route. I mean, like I did both, but if you look at my LinkedIn, it might look like I'm more of a salesperson. So I'm trying to kind of make it look more like, highlight my marketing experience. So email marketing is what I'm good at, what I have a lot of experience in, and that's where I'm looking to move forward. Full disclosure, the last few months I have been training to be a notary loan signing agent, which is a complete career shift. It's so different than everything else I've done in the past. But I saw it as like, hey, I'm going to, try to do something different because of COVID. That would be a job that is kind of, always needed. However, I see that as something that I might want to do kind of part-time and do marketing also kind of part-time, temporary, or certain projects. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, focusing a lot on the notary job career path, but also open and looking to, connect with interesting companies and maybe hopefully help out with email marketing campaigns.
Well, remind me to connect you with my friend Jay Schwedelson. He is in all about email marketing, and he might be able to give you some insight or share some maybe companies that you hadn't heard of. So that's great. Love the flexibility, or versatility with your language. That's always going to be a plus. International, that's going to be a help. What does your job search and journey look like? What are you doing outside of maybe what everyone else is doing that you can share?
So I moved here to LA about in February last year for a job, which was at a private airline not far from here. And then after 2 months, I lost the job. So for a while, I was just doing a lot of like LinkedIn search, taking some interviews. But a lot of the times what I was finding, it was kind of jobs that I wasn't really interested in. It was kind of like the struggle between, do I just apply for whatever job that I'm probably overqualified for just because it's a job, or do I kind of deepen my search and find something that I'm more, suited to or want to do? I'll admit I have been a bit slow with the search, but I have been just trying to work with my network. I have a few friends in LA who have kind of done like LinkedIn posts, highlighting my, my experience and what I'm looking for. So I've connected with people that way, but I just haven't really found the opportunity I'm looking for. And as I've been focusing on the notary stuff the last few months, I haven't really been looking as much. But now that it's 2021 and I feel like things are starting to kind of move forward a little bit more, yeah, basically just LinkedIn networking, because I've noticed that those websites, just kind of like those job sites, aren't really good, like Indeed or anything like that.
Great. What has been some challenges that you've seen? We've heard some people talk about, not hearing back when you apply, even late in the process. Is there something that sticks out that, that is a little bit frustrating for you? It's good for other people to hear that they're not alone, and also for other people, to hear that if they're the ones doing that, then maybe they shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for me is I'm getting a lot of people reaching out about jobs that I'm overqualified for. Like they'll reach out for an SDR job, 50 cold calls a day, where it's like, hey, I have a good 5 years of experience under my belt. So that's the most frustrating part. Or I'll get a lot of people reaching out about MLMs or, stuff like that, where, you need to pay in to work here. And that's just a big no-no. Also,
I still get those, and I'm not looking for a job, and I own my own company, so you shouldn't.
Yeah, so I try to ignore those. But I think that mainly just people reaching out for sales jobs, because like with the marketing jobs, I was really focused on email marketing. I unfortunately did not have the experience to do, ad targeting at my last company in Berlin. So usually when I'm looking for marketing positions, I fit maybe like a few of the bullet points, but not all. And then, sometimes it's jobs that are just really far away, and I'm not really willing to make a move right now. So
completely get it.
Yes.
I mean, that makes sense. Aaron was talking about the LA Olympics, maybe look into that, especially with your multilingual. That could be something to look at. Do you have, I know you said email marketing and you're working on the notary. Do you have anything that you're targeting specifically? Is it more for a company? Is it an email marketing company? Tell people what you're looking for so they can maybe see if they know anything.
For sure. So, I could do email marketing basically for a wide array of industries. I mean, obviously tourism and travel would be ideal, but right now with COVID, I'm not expecting to go that route. Another kind of focus that I've looked at is like natural foods, vegan, vegetarian companies like Beyond Meat, Plant Power, because down here in LA, we have a lot of these vegan, vegetarian companies, also close by, like a few towns away from where I am. So that's definitely something interesting for me. And yeah, tech companies as well, fashion tech. So I'm pretty open to many industries. Yeah, so I don't really have set. I'm trying to open.
Oh, we lost her a little bit. Did we lose the feed, and you're with us?
Good.
There we go.
There you go. So
we're
yeah, I know you were saying you have a lot of different industries, so it doesn't need to be targeted for one. So finish up. Tell us any last thing you want everyone to know about you, and then we're gonna let the panel give one last quick minute here, and then we'll wrap up until the next time.
Yeah, I guess, just I'm interested to connect with people. You can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm always interested to meet other people from different industries. Also, obviously interested to connect with people about email marketing. Or if anyone listening happens to be in the loan signing notary industry, you never know. Always looking for mentors in that field because I haven't started that yet. That's something that's in progress.
Okay.
So I'm always looking to learn more about that because that's completely, I would say, out of my comfort zone. I'm going to be going to people's homes and notarizing their signatures on their loan documents. That's
all right. Chris is over here is a mortgage broker. Okay.
Favorite place in Europe that you traveled when you lived in Berlin?
Oh wow, so that's hard. I love a lot of places, but although I'm a warm weather person, I absolutely love Stockholm, Sweden. It's just a beautiful, beautiful city.
You ski there?
No, just I have a lot of friends, and it's it's surrounded by water. You can just go swimming in the lakes in the middle of the city, which is nice.
Yeah, great. Well, look, we appreciate you coming on. Any way we can help, let us know. I sent you Jay's contact information. Definitely check him out. And we got a few minutes left, so we want to give out some last words to everyone here on the panel. And and then we'll be doing this again soon. I think so. It seems like people are enjoying it, and hopefully it's working for people and giving them some good ideas. And I know it's given our panel some good ideas and giving them a chance to expand what they're doing. So appreciate it. Let's go around the horn here with we'll start with Linda.
Thanks, Natalie.
Natalie.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
With those language skills, that just shocks me. Like that's so amazing. I think a couple people have said, I'm willing to relocate. I don't want to relocate. I think I've said this before. One of the really great things that I think that will be a byproduct of COVID is the fact that companies are not asking for that anymore. And even just the other day, I sent a lead to a friend, and she said, "Oh, it doesn't say remote." And I said, "Well, just try." And wouldn't you know, once she got on the call with the recruiter said, "Yeah, we're considering remote. We just don't put that on all of our posts." Not sure why, but it just goes to show, like, if you see something that you like, just apply for it, because you never know how flexible the companies are going to be. I mean, when you think about why spend, if it's a family of four, $20,000 to move you across the country when you can fly, they can fly you in 4 times a year. Or, currently in my company, my boss lives in Minnesota. His boss lives in Paris, France. Their boss lives in, Dallas, Texas. And we've got colleagues all over Europe and India. So obviously it works. So don't ever, if you see a job and you think you're great for it, apply. And you just might be surprised that they'll even make a concession for you because you're so good for the position. So don't limit yourself by geographic limitations.
That's great advice. Chris, quick thoughts?
Yeah, just real quick, Matt. Thanks very much to everybody for letting me join. A couple of things that I would encourage is to be open. And when I say be open, the place where I would probably have a different perspective than Jen earlier, where she said that she doesn't share a role that's under a 3.5 on Glassdoor, is I've worked for those companies before, and I've worked for them during a time period where they've been trying to get out from under that and to exceed that. So there are actually companies that are below 3.5 now on Glassdoor that are pretty good places to work. And I would say, just because it's there, be open to at least consider them. The other thing that Natalie just brought up was, while she's done a lot of sales, she's more focused on the marketing aspect. Be open to joining a company in a sales role if it's a great company, with the opportunity to move into marketing later. So the first thing is be open, the next is be engaged, and then the final is be ready. Yeah. Andrew?
Just going off of some stuff that Natalie was saying, I think, for even the email marketing, it's a great way to use LinkedIn to share tips, show that you're an expert in that field, show examples, help some people out with some free advice. People start seeing that, they share it, and then before you know it, like, I'm a small business owner. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to give her a call, see if she can help me out. And I think that kind of work can be done, almost anywhere. So I think, whether it's that or anything, use LinkedIn to showcase your skills.
What, Jill?
Yeah, a couple of people touched on this when they were talking, but have someone outside of your field look at your resume, someone who doesn't know what you do, to see if it's obvious, because sometimes recruiters, HR people aren't an expert in the actual subject that they're hiring for, right? So whether it's a friend, have somebody else look at your resume. Also have someone within the targeted industry look at your resume. I say this every time, and I've done a lot of it in the past couple of weeks. I'm always happy to look at someone's LinkedIn. My background, while I'm not HR, and Matt, we talked about this, at my previous role, I did all the recruiting and the hiring, and I've looked at a million resumes, probably over exaggerating, but I've looked at so many resumes and so many LinkedIns that I am more than happy to review somebody's LinkedIn and give you my 2 cents, my pointers on that. And lastly, this came up way earlier. I can't remember who said it, but I know this is always a weird thing, but I always connect with my friends on LinkedIn, even if they have nothing to do with my industry, because somebody who is my friend is very willing to go out of my way if they know someone in a target company or they know of a job that I might be appropriate for. So just because they're your friends and maybe you follow them on Instagram and your friends on Facebook and all the other social media platforms doesn't mean you shouldn't be connected with them on LinkedIn. Use the resources you got.
Absolutely. Great job by the panelists today. Great job by the candidates. Aaron said thank you to me for this wonderful forum, but it wouldn't happen without Jill and Andrew and Chris and Linda and Lee and Jen and all the candidates who are coming on. So we really appreciate it. Stay positive. We're going to do this again. If you want to highlight yourself, reach out to me. And we're all happy to help any way we can. Keep in mind, you will find work. Stay positive and help when you can. Ask for what you want, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone who tuned in.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.